a hadith that Al-Qudai relates in his book from Sayyidina Ali, and it really has what's called hukm al-marfu'. It's from Sayyidina Ali. He does not raise it to the Prophet ﷺ. In other words, he doesn't say akhbarani Rasulullah in it directly, but because they're unseen matters, it has what's called hukm al-marfu'. So it's the same as if the Prophet ﷺ said it. Sayyidina Ali is reported to have said, radiyallahu anhu, ask me before you lose me, because between these two shoulders is great knowledge from what the Prophet ﷺ has given me. And so this man Sa'sa stood up and he said, "Oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, when does the Dajjal come out?" And this is important because he asked them to ask him about knowledge that the Prophet had given him, and this was the question that they asked. In other words, this indicates the concern of these people about the most evil of all tribulations that is waited for. And so he said, "Sit down, O Sa'sa." Sit down, he told him. And then he said that it has signs and it has things that we can't even mention. It has unmentionable aspects to this matter. وَأَشْيَاءُ يَتْلُو بَعْضُهَا بَعْضًا, and things follow one after another. حَدْوَ النَّعْرِ بِالنَّعْرِ, like the sandals follow the sandals. تَكُونُ فِي حَوْلٍ وَاحِدٍ, these things would be even in 1 year. So if you desire, I'll tell you about the signs that precede this matter. فَقَالَ عَنْ ذَلِكَ سَأَلْتُ يَا أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, this is what I'm asking about, O Amir al-Mu'mineen. And then he said, إِذَا أَمَاتَ النَّاسُ الصَّلَاةِ, when people chill off the prayer. Now one of these things is about the iqamah of prayer, because the iqamah is in the masjid. If you travel in the Muslim world, in many places in the Muslim world, I lived in a place in Al-Ain and lived in the masjid, next to the masjid, in this masjid, and it was surrounded by apartment buildings, surrounded with literally thousands of people in the vicinity. At Fajr, there were maybe less than there is at Catherine Street at Fajr, and surrounded by thousands of Muslims living there. إِذَا أَمَانَ النَّاسُ الصَّلَاةِ وَأَضَاعُوا الْأَمَانَةِ, and there's no more amana. People are no longer trustworthy in their actions. وَاسْتَحَلُّوا الْكِذِبِ, and they think that lying is permissible. وَأَكْلُوا الرِّبَى, and people begin to eat usury, to devour usury. وَأَخَذُوا الرَّشَى, and then there's bribery everywhere. وَشَيِّدُوا الْبِنَاءِ, and the buildings begin to be built high. They begin to build these towering buildings. وَاتَّبَعُوا الْأَهْوَاءِ, and people follow their passions. وَبَاعُوا الدِّينَ بِالدُّنْيَا, and people sell their deen for dunya. وَاسْتَخَفُّوا بِالدِّمَاءِ, and people consider shedding blood a light matter. People don't care about shedding blood anymore, what it means. وَكَانَ الْحِلْمُ ضَعْفًا, and that a person forgives people, is gentle with people, is considered weakness. وَالظُّلْمُ فَخْرًا, and oppression is something that people become proud of. وَالْأُمَرَاءُ فَجْرًا, and the rulers are the worst people. وَوُزَرَاؤُهُمْ وَأُمَنَاؤُهُمْ خَوَنًا, and their people around them, their people of trust, and their ministers are all treacherous and betray them. وَقُرَّاؤُهُمْ فَسَقًا, and the educated people, some say this means Quran reciters. Al-Ghimari says Qurra, that they didn't use that mustalah in the time of the Prophet. Qurra were the people that knew how to read and write, the literate people. وَقُرَّاؤُهُمْ فَسَقًا, and the literate people become fasaqa, wretched people. وَيَظْهَرُ الْجَوْرُ, and oppression manifests everywhere. وَيَكْثُرُ الطَّلَاقِ, and divorce becomes prevalent. And this was something, talaq was a rare thing in the Muslim ummah. Talaq was not a big thing. And even in the world, more so in the Christian world than the Muslim world, because Allah has made halal for the Muslims talaq. It used to be in the Christian world, you couldn't divorce a woman. And a woman could not divorce the man. That they were stuck with each other until they died. And that was the Catholic teaching, that there was no divorce. So even amongst the Christians, now divorce is over 50% in the United States. And if you just look at statistics, this was not the case a short while ago. وَمَوْتُ الْفُجَاءَ, and sudden death. This is another thing. This is a disease of our age, that people die from heart attacks suddenly. People did not die like that. People generally, it was rare for somebody simply just to drop dead. People used to literally, they get sick, and then there would be a time that people would come to the house and things like that. If you look at in the hadith of the Prophet, you'll see people didn't die suddenly, except in battle or from an accident, like falling off of a horse. Generally, they got sick with a fever or with something in the stomach, and they had time for tawbah, things like that. Now, literally, somebody just dropped dead right in front of you, and people who've seen this have seen it. Or they get a stroke and literally drop right in front of you. Maut al-fuja'a. And some say also it means the mines and things like that. Sudden death from those type of things. Bombing. وَحُلِّيَةِ الْمَصَاحِفِ. And the mushaf becomes ornamented, which is part of the modern printing now, that people can, all these beautiful masahif that come from these different places. وَزُخْرِفَةَ الْمَسَاجِدِ. And the masajid are made beautiful. وَقُوِّلَةَ الْمَنَابِرِ. And the mimbars are made high. وَخُرِبَةَ الْقُلُوبِ. And the hearts become barren and bereft. وَنُقِدَةَ الْعُهُودِ. And people's transactions are just, people break them. They make contracts and they break them without caring. وَاسْتُعْمِلَةَ الْمَعَازِفِ. And musical instruments are used all over the place. See? And this is another thing. Music used to be something that people, the musicians would come to town maybe every once in a while. Like in the West Africa still. They don't have in the Sahara, they don't have radios and things like that. You see, I mean, this is the state. Everywhere is music. People go into the supermarket, music. They get in their car, music. Everywhere is music. وَشُرِبَتَ الْخُمُورِ. And wine is, and khumur is the plural. You can go to the supermarket and hundreds of different types of wine are drinking. You can cherry wine or apple wine or this wine or that wine or wine coolers and just on and on and on. وَفَشَ zina. And zina becomes prevalent. Fasha means it's open. Fornication becomes open. It's no longer a hidden thing. And in every culture on the earth, with the exception of rare times in human history, like the Roman cultures were secular, no religious, the zina is anathema. People were sickened by it. وَأْتُمِنَ الْخَائِنِ. And wretched, treacherous people are trusted. وَخُوِّنَ الْأَمِينَ. And the good people are considered treacherous. And the woman will help the husband in earning money out of their love for dunya. Out of their love for dunya, the woman will share the husband's earning out of love for dunya, hirsan out of dunya, out of their covetousness for dunya. They want it so bad. What they call dual income family. I mean, women didn't do this. Women didn't go out. They raised their children. They took care of their responsibilities within their limited fields. But now a woman goes out and hirsan out of dunya, just out of love for dunya. She wants to have her own credit card, to go to the thing and get her car and all the dunya, and the husband, he likes it. He wants her to go out and work because he likes the dunya as well. I mean, it was rare in the Muslim ummah. And he said, fit tijara, because women used to help their husbands. Farmers have always been helped. Women in many cases did as much work on the farm as the husband did, and more given the children and things. But this is fit tijara, helping him in tijara. وَرُكِبَ ذَوَاتِ الْفُرُوجِ السُّرُوجِ. And though the women would ride in seats, suruj, is the saddle, would ride in the seat. The women used to ride in the hodak. They were covered, they didn't actually ride in the seats. And some of them say that this is also an indication of وَيَخْرُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, of the cars and things like this. وَالسَّلَامُ لِلْمَعْرِفَةِ. And people greet each other only because they know them. They don't greet each other because Muslims say Assalamu alaikum. Now in the Muslim world, people, they don't say Assalamu alaikum unless they know the person. They just walk by and don't greet people. Or they go in, they just say Masa al-khair, Sabah al-khair, Marhaba. Salam qawlun min Rabb al-Rahim. This is a word that Allah gave us. And then he said, وَلَبِشُوا جُلُودَ الضَّأْنِ عَلَى قُلُوبِ الذِّئَابِ. And people will wear sheep's clothing over the hearts of wolves. They come like they're nice, they love you, all of these things, and they have hearts of wolves. قُلُوبُهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ أَمَرُّ مِنَ الصَّبْرِ. Their hearts are more bitter than patience, which is an Arab proverb, a way of saying that this is the most bitter type of heart. أَنْزَلُ مِنَ الْجِيفَةِ. And they're more foul than a carcass. فَالنَّجَاءَ. So safety, والوحى الوحى العجلة hurry up. These are signs, hurry up. Before all this tribulation comes, get moving. والجد and be serious about your life. Be serious about your life. نعم المسكن يومئذ بيت المقدس. What a good place to reside during those days is Bayt al-Maqdis, Ard al-Ribat. Bayt al-Maqdis, because this is where the Dajjal is defeated, in Bayt al-Maqdis. And so those people who are there in Bayt al-Maqdis when the Dajjal manifests, these are the people that, subhanAllah, they get the reward of being with the Mahdi and with Isa. And there's a tradition also that says, Al-Ghimari, who is a great muhaddith of this age, the Mahdi did not come until people start saying there's no Mahdi, which is happening now.